Constraints are, so let's focus on the constraints. The constraint says that out of m what? There's a number n that tells you how many months it's giving you information about, and then it says the constraint is that of every m consecutive months. So if you take any m number of months, there are some number of flights that you have to pay for. Is that clear? So in this case, it says for every 3 months, you have to pay for 2 of the flights. So if you take the first 3 months, that's 3, 1, and 4. That's a total of 8 flights. Of these, you got to pay for 2. Okay? And the question is, what's the minimum number of flights that you absolutely have to pay for? There are some weird constraints here. Not only is it that for every m months you have to pay for k flights, but it also says you have to include all the ones that started before your first flight, which is completely nuts. Never heard of that before. Okay? How many of you have seen this? Have you seen this before? No?
I might have, but I
Don't remember.
no.
Okay. So, our first challenge is to convince ourselves that it makes sense. Let's do that. How does one do it? Okay. So remember, for every 3 months, there must be 2 flights that you have to pay for. Clear? So, that there's a total of 4 plus 4, 8, 1, 9, 5, 14, 23, 25, 31 flights. And the claim is that you have to pay for 8 of these flights. You have to convince yourself that 8 is the right answer, that you couldn't get away with something less. So you want to tell me which are the flights you're going to have to pay? Oh, sorry. So I have 832, and then I have 3141, 5926. Okay. Right.
So why can't we take the bottom 6 and it'll be 2, 2?
The bottom,
Oh, wait, never mind.
bottom 6.
I guess if you can't do 3 months, you have to pay for everything.
Sorry?
If you can't find like a continuous 3 months,
Yeah.
you have to pay for all of those flights because it doesn't follow the special plan.
Well, let's worry about that later. Let's even see what's a reasonable answer that you get from here. Which flights would you like to pay for? It doesn't even have to be the best for now. Let's worry about the best a little bit later. Where do you want to pay for?
Can I question? What's the 8 here? The 3 you said for
8,
each
there are
3?
8 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
The number
Okay.
of the
3 means, so this is M, this is N, and this is K. M means out of any 3 months, I have to pay for 2 flights, not months, 2 flights. Okay?
and the rest of the flight is free?
Is free. So there are only 8 things here. You know, I could just pay for 1 trip on each of these months and I'd be fine. Is that correct? Is that true?
Pay for 1 trip.
Yeah, what if I just pay for 1 from here, 1 from here? So let me actually use a different color so that all right. So let's say I pay for 1 flight here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1. Would this work?
That's not not the way that I'm understanding the problem, I'm confused.
No. Tell me if this is a valid answer. Forget about minimum.
It's
The
supposed to.
question is it a valid answer? Namely, does it satisfy your constraints or not? That's the question.
I don't think not.
Sorry? You don't think so? I can take any 3 months and I have at least two flights paid for. What's the problem?
What happens at the end?
Sorry?
What happens at the end? Because
Yeah, that's what I want people to see where the problems are. And why this may not be a valid answer.
It depends on when you start taking advantage of the deal, because they say that before then.
Right.
You have to
So-
pay for everything.
So this sentence here is kind of annoyingly problematic, and that's down here. It says here that, well, first of all, it says out of M months you have to pay for K flights, but then it says other flights within that interval are free. Then it says, note that this condition need not be true for all M month intervals, including all of the ones that start before your first flight. Right. So I don't think the last month is the problem. Well, maybe the last month is also a problem, actually, mainly because
I
otherwise
think
it
it's
would be
both.
late.
Yeah.
Which they didn't say explicitly. But in particular, there's some other problem that gets violated here. What's that? Oh yeah, you'd like to look at the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just reading.
Yeah, this is the problem we're looking at. It's called frequent flyer.
Uh-huh.
And, yeah. Take a look, and once you've read the top, I can scroll up and have you see more. Or you can use that website there and open it on your device. So, do you see any problem with this?
Okay. It says in the problem, if the, your flight less than the K, less than the M, I think so you should pay for all the flight, yes? It says here,
Which line are you
if
talking
there
about?
are fewer than K flights in the interval, all those flights must be paid for.
Right.
So if
In that interval of M months, sure.
3,
Yeah.
there's gonna be 3.
I don't see anywhere where it's less than two.
Look, we have 3 and 2.
There's a two. you have to-
2 months,
Sorry?
it's gonna be 2 months.
You can have 2 months that you can't fit into 3.
There are not in
So
Not
yeah.
2 months, 2 flights. What are you talking about? So if I look at this 3-month period, there are 6 flights here. 1 plus 4 plus 1.
Not M.
Yeah, but you have 3 months, and then 2 months. Then you can't group into 3.
No. You have to take care of every possible 3 months, which means I also have to take care of this. I also have to take care of this.
Oh, really?
I also have to take care of this. Yeah, of course. You have to take care of every 3 months.
That's not after 3 months, this delete the history, no.
Within a 3-month period, you have to pay for 2 flights. That's, the rule is as simple as that, right? So, my question again is, if I pay for 1 flight on each of these months, are my conditions satisfied? What do you think?
No.
If not, what rule is being violated?
I guess yes.
Sorry?
I guess the answer is yes.
You think the answer is yes? Okay. Jian, you think the answer is yes?
How I'm understanding this problem, because I noticed that you're like doing M consecutive month intervals that are like overlapping. So you kind of like drew the rectangles like that.
Yeah.
But I think they said that like I don't think it was explicitly stated, but I think it's implied that like any leftover months, like any remaining months after dividing by M. So like
You're getting into some irrelevant things. The relevant things is that every 3-month period, I need to pay for 2 flights. And I am saying, if I pay for 1 flight in each of these months, am I satisfying the constraints or not? That's my question, simple question. And you think it's no, why? What am I violating?
Basically, you're just paying for one. I don't think, yeah, you have to pay for two.
No,
Or-
just says in a 3-month period, I have to pay for 2.
Mhm.
In this 3-month period, I paid for 3 instead of 2.
Oh, that's how you're looking.
In this 3-month period, I paid for 3. What's the problem?
Okay. Cause how I was seeing it, it's like I saw the 3 and thought that many
Understood,
was,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so now are you going to allow me to get away with this? Ricky says no.
But you're gonna pay for
What
2,
did I-
yes?
What did we violate?
You're
Sorry?
supposed to pay each 3 months for 2 flights, yes?
No, no,
No?
you're wording this all wrong for me. Please just follow my words again. I am going to pay for 1 flight on each of these months. I'm asking, am I satisfying the rules of the game or not? That's all I'm asking. Okay?
Yeah.
Because by understanding that, you will understand the real constraints in the problem. Now, Ricky says this violates something. Tell me what. The rules are all there. Any thoughts on what we are violating? Oh, sorry. Okay, let me tell you that the problem is with this last sentence in the second paragraph. And what's the problem? Don't see it? What's wrong with that sentence? How did my schedule violate that rule? Okay, can somebody explain that sentence to me? It's all English anyways. It says
I
what?
have a question, what it means the.
No, can you just wait for a second? Please read the sentence. It says the condition needs to be true for all m-month intervals, fine? Including the ones that start before your first flight. What do you understand from this?
That even before, like, the ones that they're taken into account, like,
Yeah,
before
so-
the period starts.
Okay, so how did my schedule violate that rule? What am I not including here? Which 3-month period am I violating in this particular schedule? Is the question clear?
Okay,
I'm just gonna see it, Because you're taking into account, well, I mean, starting from the first month, you've got two.
Yeah, I got two here.
And the last one
In
got
fact, I have three.
Yeah,
I have three from every 3 months
so it
period.
seems like you have all of them, so.
Yeah, so where is the
That's what
problem?
I was thinking too, but you're saying that something is out of place, which would be,
And I even point you to the sentence where the violation occurs, so help me. All right, now what's your question?
My question was, what's the first flight? Is it 3 over there, is the start the flight? They said first flight, which one?
You did say first, yeah, that is the first month, sure.
The first one and the first one, the start from the, that's in maybe the before
Sorry?
that month is included too? If I don't have any flight before that, it is
What it
gone?
says, yeah. Okay, so where is the violation?
The
Sorry,
violation is not-
articulate the violation for me.
In 3, first one is a violation because before
Okay,
you don't have.
first
any
3 is a
flight.
violation because,
You don't have, maybe, you don't have any flights over there before.
There's
can you articulate it better for me?
there's like a 3-month interval above it.
That's right, so there are 2 more months here. And in that 3-month period, I have paid for
One.
only one. And so I violated the rule. Is that clear now? Everyone okay with this? Manuela? Yeah? So it says that you have to also account for the months before things started. Okay. So really, I shouldn't be writing it this way, I should be writing it as 0, 0, those are the 2 months before, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 9, 2, 6. Now you'll see that putting in a 1 here is not gonna do it, because there was a 3-month period where I did not satisfy the rule. Is that clear? Okay. So that means I have to put in a 2 here. Is that clear? Now help me create a schedule. By paying the least, obviously I wanna pay the least. I don't wanna pay somebody money unnecessary, right? Okay, what do I do? When do I pay for flights? Should I pay this next month? Should I wait? What am I doing? Look, this 2 pays for what? It pays for the zeros, right? Does it pay for this?
no,
Why not?
because it already passed the 3-month mark.
Why not? I mean, it doesn't matter if it's for the future. If I look at this 3-month period, is it paid for?
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Yeah, everything.
So why am I worrying about this one?
Because you wanna meet the 2 flight requirement.
But that's already paid for.
Moving forward.
So, my question is, where am I paying next? Which flight am I paying next? Sorry?
We've already paid for everything from 0 to 4.
Yeah, it looks like even this entire 3-month period is paid for. I paid for 2 months, right? Okay, what's the next thing I'm gonna pay for then?
You mean next interval, you should pay?
Don't tell me that, tell me which month I'm paying for. Tell me precisely which month.
You should pay for one,
I should pay for this one or this
the
one?
first one.
The first one. He thinks I should pay for the first one.
So-
That's crazy. Why am I paying for it when I don't need to?
Okay, so from what you're explaining, right,
Yeah.
basically you're saying that from the 0 to 3, and from the 3 to 4 is already paid for. So basically it would be from the 1 to the 9, or the second one.
Oh, well, you need to look at this more carefully because remember what we said here. What did we say?
They have the overlay.
Every 3-month period needs to have been taken care of. So which is the first 3-month period that's not taken care of now?
1 to 1.
Sorry?
From 1 to 1.
That's right, so this 3-month period. Is that clear? That's not taken care of.
Yeah.
So how do I take care of it? Where do I
Pay
put
for
the
two,
two? That's
pay
not
for
good enough.
two,
You have to tell me which two flights.
Pay for two then, yeah?
Sorry?
Pay for two, here
Where?
two.
Don't tell me
You
two,
can
which
say
ones?
One for, which flight?
Which ones?
Pay one
Yeah.
at 4 and one at 1.
You can pay one
Sorry?
and one.
1 at 4 and 1 at 1.
One at four
Or two
and
for-
this one or this one?
The second one.
The second one.
So it
Okay.
Mhm.
Sounds like a plan to me. Now, why did you have to break it up like this? Was it necessary? Could I have done two over here and gotten away with it?
I think so.
Right?
I think
Yeah.
maybe make a violation.
But
Is that-
it wouldn't be useful to do it at the first one.
What do you think?
No?
I could have paid for two flights here and
I feel
Not
like
listed, right?
either one would be a good choice.
either one would be a good
Yeah.
choice. So I could do 2 and 0, you think?
Just not any at the first one. I feel like, yeah.
You
How
don't
about
want
if
the
the
first one,
inter-
well, why not? I could have done 1 and 0. What's wrong with that? Maybe?
From.
I think it's like a violation because if you
Violation?
take the interval from three,
I'm
one,
paying for
four,
more than is necessary, how is it a violation?
look, if you choose the interval 3, 1, 4, then you pay for 3 flights, but not
Nobody's
3.
nobody's gonna say, oh, I don't like it, you're paying for too much, they'll happily take your money. But it's you
But-
who's throwing away money at unnecessary flights, that's what I would say. Right? I would take your money. Oh, she saw something, what did you say?
I might be wrong.
Well, tell us.
I would say that within that 3-month period, like we had it, we put it for 1 and 1,
Mhm.
4 and the 1, right?
Mm.
And then you would have the 1 and the 1 because that could apply to the next 3-month period.
Right, so here we have 3 choices, one is a 1 and 1 here, or a 2 and a 0 here, or a 1, 1 and 0 here.
I'd go with
Which
the
one do you like?
1 and 1.
1 and 1.
One
You
and
like 1 and 1?
Yeah.
But you gotta tell me a little bit more why you like 1 and 1.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
So where it says 003, right, and the 2,
Yeah,
that 2, it accounts for 1 to 1, correct? So the 1 and 1 would account for 5 to 2.
it accounts for everything. It accounts for this,
Okay,
because that 3-month period needs to be taken care of.
right.
It takes care of this, because that 3-month period also needs to be taken care of, and it also takes care of this. Because, and in each of those 3-month periods, I have redeemed myself and paid for 2,
So
right?
if you
For
already
2.
paid for, in the 3rd month, if you already paid for 2, you don't have to do it for the 2nd one because that still counts for the 3-month period.
Sorry, say it one more
Like
time.
if you already paid for 2,
Correct?
right?
Yes.
And if you're looking at it from 3, 1, 4,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be included?
Well, it's not a violation, it's just that it looks like I'm paying for a little extra, but
Yeah.
I needed it to take care of this period, so fine, so be it, okay?
So moving forward then, based off what you're illustrating there, is that even if, when we put the 1 there, it would also account for other time periods as well?
Well, I don't know if you're asking me a question or you're telling me.
Well, I mean,
Do you
I'm
know the
assuming
rules?
that's what's.
Do you know the rules, right? The rules say I have to take care of every 3-month period.
Mhm.
And all I'm saying is that there are multiple ways to satisfy that. And I am asking for help to tell me why one might be better than the other, right? And you guys are all pointing to 1 and 1, which you really like, but you're not quite telling me why. Now, okay, let's maybe put aside that question and come back to it. What's next? What happens? I still have to pay for a few more. What do I do?
And then we have to choose 3.
Sorry?
5, 9, 2. We have to choose
592,
592
wait,
and pay for two. No.
you're going off to 592 and I haven't even taken care of 415. Have I taken care of 415?
No.
Not quite.
Oh, 1, 4.
Yeah, so
4,
better
1,
take care of
4, yeah.
everything. Yeah, so when am I paying for the next trip? Please tell me.
I don't wanna just, let me think about this first.
Yeah,
Cause I do see the condition where you're overpaying.
well, overpaying is okay, but underpaying is not.
It's not.
Underpaying is a violation, overpaying is, well, you're not so smart. So somewhere we'd have to fix the program for that, right? But we haven't even thought about the program yet. Right now, we're just looking at one example and trying to figure out what we think a good program should be doing, right?
So we want to try find how I can save more with paid less, yes.
Yeah, correct.
I would say we just put a 1 right at 5.
You wanna put 1 at 5,
Correct.
why?
Cause I was looking at, okay, so say we move the interval from 4 to 5. 2 is still being, what would I say? 2 flights are being paid for. If
Right.
we were to move it from 1 to 9, only 1
Wait,
would.
so that's why I'm saying, go one step at a time and tell me how each of those are satisfied. So what's the next interval that we need to take care of? That would be clearly 4 to 5.
Correct.
And is that taken care of? Are you happy with it?
Yep.
Yes? So we're happy with it because there's 2. All right, so the next problematic case is that guy. And here, how many do we have paid for?
Only 1.
Only 1. So I have to pay for 1 more, and my question is where? And you're saying you wanna put it at 5.
Correct.
Everyone happy with that? You, sir?
Or
What do you
maybe
think?
it could be at,
I would maybe wanna put it at 9.
yeah.
You may wanna put it at 9.
9.
So it's not clear where to put it. Anyways, there are some choices, right? So one possibility is to maybe put it here. The other possibility may be to put it there, right? One of these two may be choices. Either way, we're gonna take care of 159. Okay, fine. So then we keep going because that's not clear. Well, we weren't even clear about this. We haven't quite gotten a reason for which one's better. But here we see an issue. And then, by the way, for 159, let's go back to this 159. You said that 1 and 0 would be fine because then you would have 2 over here. But then if I take 2 and 0, I would have a problem with that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, only for
So maybe this is better, we don't know. But then there's well, you have some thoughts on this?
Regarding the 2 and the decision.
Whatever it is, whatever aspect of the problem.
So basically, I'm looking at the problem. I'm seeing that time periods overlap with each other, so it's best to find like a schedule where a payment, how would I say it? I'm trying to find the right verbiage for it. So basically, we would have like, say for instance, I don't think the 1 at 5 is feasible. I think the 1 at 9 is more feasible because that is, because
Yeah.
that's like,
Uh-huh.
it's, what would I say? It's like accounting for a different time period, I feel, like 2 time periods at the same time. And it would satisfy the condition, if you get what I mean.
All right, but can you turn those thoughts into a strategy? Because remember, ultimately, we want an algorithm.
I can try.
Keep thinking. You had a question?
No.
No. So, what did we decide about these 2 options, by the way?
They would go against, the schedule.
Which one?
2 and,
I know, you're saying these 2 would be problematic, but problematic where? In which interval?
when you say.
In which 3-month period would it be a problem?
When we get to 1 to 9.
159.
159,
Thank you.
correct,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I want. All right, good. So with 159, 20 would be a problem because then I would have to put in an extra 1 here in order to account for things. Clear? Okay, good. So far we've come up to this. So the next 3-month period that needs to be accounted for is
5, 9.
that guy, right? Now, we have only 1 there. we don't know which of these, but either one will only give us one. So,
It,
what do I do?
so,
Am I going to put in pay for one here?
Yeah.
Or should I just pay for one here and take care of it?
we're looking at 5 to 2 right now,
Yes,
so.
I think 1 and 2.
sorry?
I think 1 and 2.
One and two.
Mm,
He likes 1 and 2. But I'm saying, why don't I put 1, 1, 0? What's wrong with that? Satisfies everything?
But I feel like when it gets to 9 to 6, it's gonna be an issue, but then we would just have to add 1 and 6, I feel like.
By the way, did you guys can you help me with which of these is a better option?
Or
He thinks 9 is a better option, and I thought I heard someone else say 5.
I
Is there a
think-
way to articulate why one is better than the other?
The one at 9 gives us less overlap over the areas that we've already paid for. So it gives us
Why is
a
that
wider
good?
range going down.
Is that good?
Yeah,
And it's good because?
it extends our.
We
what
can
we've
cover,
paid
we can
after.
cover more ranges in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah,
Okay, so therefore, this is perhaps not so good, this is better, maybe. And then, what about this guy here? Well, you also argued that, looks like you're not gonna like this either then, right?
I would go with 0 to 1.
Yeah? So you're liking things so far, what you're seeing here. Okay, now what's left? I'm going to now look at 9 to 6, right? And I have 1 and 1 paid for.
1 on 6.
Sorry?
1 on 6.
You want 1 and 6, why? It's already
No, we
done,
already
that's,
done
I'm
that.
taking this schedule here,
Oh, yeah.
9 and 2 is paid for.
Never mind.
so,
Anything else?
nope, we solved it.
So how many flights did I pay for? That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But the answer says 8. Something went wrong.
I didn't know you were working on that.
All right, see that? It says 8. How are they getting 8? They must be doing something wrong.
Doesn't it save the customer though, like, that's a win on their side? Loss for the company.
What are we missing here? There is something we're missing.
Maybe after discounting,
Uh-huh,
after 6.
yeah.
Is
What
too
about it?
normal. And-
So,
and
you have to
amount
look at
of-
all 3-month periods,
Uh-huh.
which means if I look at even 2 and 6, I have only 1. First of all, right? And then if I look at the period starting with 6, same problem. So therefore, what do I have to do?
2 on 6.
Add the zeros.
Add what?
2 on 6.
Add 2 on 6. Because 6 will be followed by 2 zeros. And that 3-month period would not have been accounted for. So therefore, 8 is the right answer. But they didn't quite explicitly say that, I think. Yeah, whoever made up the problem had things in their head that they didn't write down.
They do that a lot.
They do that a lot.
Well, it's.
You know from
designed to trick you.
experience. Sorry?
It's designed to trick you.
It's the what?
Designed to trick you. Because if you take the bottom 6,
Yeah.
you get 2, 2, and then you add up 4 at the end, and it'll give you 8. But that's not the right way to think about the problem.
Yeah.
So if you don't read carefully, you end up getting the right answer for the wrong reason.
Perhaps, yeah. By the way, I could have achieved this differently as well, I think. Maybe. What if I put?
I feel like there's one other way to do it.
There may be more than one, but let's try one. How about if I put 2, pay for 2 here, pay for 2 here because I don't have a choice. Let's say pay for 2 here and pay for 2 here. Would that work? Maybe, right? Kind of sounds okay to me. So, but anyways, there is something about this solution that we constructed through arguments. And the question is, what strategy did we use? That's what your problems, that's where your problem solving skills are going to get honed, are going to get improved by thinking about what strategy we used to get that. What did we do?
Greedy strategy?
We were very greedy, but it's still unclear what greedy means here. One of you said this already, so it's just a matter of repeating what you said earlier.
You said what's the strategy? The strategy?
One of you said the strategy,
The
mentioned it.
overlapping, like the months?
That's part of the rules. That's what the rules say anyways, so you don't have a choice there. But the strategy is, remember, there were multiple ways of doing things. In fact, we even found a different answer here, right? So all I'm asking is there a way of articulating what got you this answer? Or, I don't know, maybe there's a different strategy for getting that answer. But whatever your strategy is, it should solve the problem correctly. It should address all the constraints, and all the constraints have to be met. And Ian says that this might be a greedy strategy. Anyone know what a greedy strategy, what greedy algorithms mean? Have you seen this term anywhere else?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so some of you have seen it. Greedy algorithm is one where you, let me wait for the end of this session to discuss what that means. But let me see if I can get you to articulate again what the strategy was to get this. Jian?
So for each like new 3-month interval that we consider,
Yeah?
supposing that like not all of them are paid for, but perhaps some of them,
Mhm.
I think that you would want to pay for the flights as close to the end of the interval as possible.
Okay, so, are you guys listening?
Oh, yes, sir.
Sorry, so, can you repeat that?
So for each new 3-month interval that you consider, supposing that not all of the flights have been paid for, so you need to still do some in order to redeem the offer. You want to pay for the flights as close to the end of the interval as possible.
Yeah?
I'd also say, I don't know how to say it like that, but, not pay, like towards the middle, we only used ones, right? Not pay 2 flights in 1 month specifically, kind of spread it out, because if not, you would,
Mhm.
after that month period, then you would have to pay again the 2 months, and it would be more expensive.
Right. Look, here it's not like it's on the fly. The entire data is given to you. There is so when you're considering information here, you don't have to think that this is the last, this may be the last. That's not a concern of ours. So we can go back and fix it. We can go back and correct that. It's not really, it's not that I have to make this decision right there. There's no one holding a gun to your head and saying, give me that answer right now. You can wait to see what the other requests are in order to make that call. But what he's saying really is to delay your decisions as much as possible. Don't pay for trips too early on because you might not need them. Just pay when it's absolutely necessary to do, that's one. In fact, that was something that Ian said. But the second thing is, what Gian is saying is, if you're looking at an interval where you have to pay for some number of trips, preferably start at the end of that interval in order to make the decisions. That's very critical, what he's saying. Now, let me try and draw a picture here. This is my timeline, my way of showing what a timeline is. So here's my first time point, first month. I still have to look at the window of k, of length k, even before this thing started. So this is of length k. Sorry, not k, m. What am I saying? All right. So I have to look, if I look at an m month window, I have to make sure that at least k of these are paid for. K of these trips are paid for, which means right on the first month, I better pay for k. In fact, the first one it will almost always be k. And the same is true of the last one, because I have to worry about a window that starts here and goes into the future. So the last one also has to be k. These two are kind of fixed, it seems, based on what they're saying. Now, we can come back to this later, to the end later, but this is a good place to start. Now that we have paid for k, if you look at the window of length m after this, well, that's already paid for. Okay, but that doesn't mean you're not going to pay for any trips in that window. It might happen that some other window that you look at, which might be going like that, might not have enough payments, and so maybe you have to go and take care of this. All right. Now, what we're saying is we're going to look at one window at a time, and we're going to slide that window down and check as we go through these windows. We're going to check if it's paid for. Now, when I look at this window, so let's assume that we're taking care of things until now. We're looking at some arbitrary window at some given point in time. What Jian is saying is, in order to look at this window, don't look at it from top to bottom. Instead, look at it from bottom to top. Which means, even within this window, you delay payments as much as possible. Okay, if you absolutely have to pay for it, pay for it here. If you still don't have enough, well, you'll pay for the next, and so on and so forth. Is that clear? So this is a strategy that I gathered based on what you guys advised me. Now, that's going to be necessary. Here we took only one example where m was 3 and k was 2. Well, the problem actually gives you constraints on m and k. Let's look at that, because that's going to be critical. What does it say? It says that n and m can be as large as, what is this, 200,000. And k can be as large as 8 billion. That's nuts. Does it even make sense to have k to be larger than n? Yeah, it's possible, because remember, each of these numbers, even though there are only 200,000 different months that you're looking at, but the numbers here can be very large. Can you guys talk elsewhere, please? So when we use these constraints that I just talked about, these strategies, you'll find a different way of looking at this. Okay. So let's use this strategy. Sorry, I was here when I was talking about M and K when I got distracted. Here it says that M and N are at most 200,000 and K can be as big as a billion. So remember, what you're getting here are very large numbers. And this list can be extremely large. And the windows that you're looking at can be as large as 200,000. So, these calls for big numbers, and then the amount of work that you have to do for a single window can be quite a lot. And that's what you have to kind of figure out, and that's how the time complexity will come in. Now, let's think about the time complexity. Remember, there could be up to 200,000 things here, and a window can be as big as 200,000. Yeah.
The first question, is this greedy strategy the best?
Good question. What do you think? Go on, say it, it's okay.
Because with greedy strategy, right, it takes the best possible route into consideration, correct?
It's not a route, so all it says is, I'm going to look at things from left to right, or top to bottom in this case, because I'm drawing my timeline like this.
Right.
And then it says for every window that I have to account for, I will delay my payments as much as possible and only pay when it's absolutely necessary. So that's greedy, that's being greedy. Say, don't bother paying for things upfront and hope that it will last as long as you want, because as somebody pointed out, if I pay early, if I pay here, then that money doesn't, that credit doesn't last for too long. So if I have two such options, I should pick the one where I delay the payment. Is that clear? You remember this situation here? Yes? Yes? So here we had a choice. We could have paid for one flight during the 5 month where we had 5 trips, or we could have paid for one trip during the 9 trip month. Now this is better because this will last longer. That credit will hold you for further into the future, and maybe it'll save you a trip later on. Whereas this one will die off here. And that's why you want to delay the payment. That's why it makes sense to start your scans within the window, but from the end, from the delayed end. But Ricky's asking a different question. He's asking, why is greedy strategy any good? How do you know it's good? How do you know if this is the only thing that works? Well, we know it works because we know we'll systematically take care of every period. But his question is there a better way to do this, right? Isn't that what you're asking?
Is this optimal?
This is optimal. What do you think?
Have you thought of something better?
That's a good question.
The thing about this right, it lets you skip a bunch of numbers that you don't have to check.
Could we do an example that I wrote on this strategy?
Of course.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Erase some things here. You have enough space to put it here, you think?
It's just small.
It's small, all right,
Yeah.
go for it.
M is equal to 3, K is equal to 5,
Okay.
and the array is 2, 4, 7, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Okay. All right, here's a new problem for you then. Exciting. So, what are we doing? Well, first of all, here, it's not even going to work because my first month, well, I just have to pay for all the trips, that's what it is. So here, I'm gonna pay for 2, let me use a different color.
Do I have to pay for 5?
I know, but I don't have more than 2 trips, so why am I paying for things that I'm not even flying for, right? True, right? Okay, so I just pay for 2 over here.
Mhm.
All right, and then I look at 2 and 4. Well, for sure I have to pay for 3 because that 3-month period I need to take care of.
Mhm.
Okay, so far so good. Then I look at 2, 4, and 7. 5 trips are paid for, so for now I don't have to worry about this. Then I look at 4, 7, 1, and I've only paid for 3. So I'm gonna pay for 1 here and 1 here, so that it becomes 5, right? Then I look at 7, 1, 1, and I will pay for 1 here this is already paid for, so I better make this 3 in order to account for things. And then I will have a 3-month period where I paid for all the trips, and I'll have a 3-month period where I paid for all the trips. And that's the best I can do if I were to use this greedy strategy, so the total is 6 to 8 and 4 to 12.
Mhm.
Now, your question is, could I have done better? That's what you're asking.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's see if there's a way to do better. So what if I paid for, well, I have to pay for the 2 trips here, I don't have a choice.
2 and 3,
I
yeah.
have to pay for 3 here, and I don't have a
Mm.
choice.
What if you do all ones after that?
What if you do all ones after that? Well, it won't take care of this.
Which one?
I can't put a 1 here because it won't take care of this period.
Oh, that's right.
It's fine.
I could do, well, if I do 3, I'm done, I'm getting, regardless of, I have to put here, the best I can do here is 1, 1, 1, 1, and I need those, it seems to me, right? Because even if I start from here, that 1 is necessary, that 1 is necessary, that 1 is necessary, and that 1 is necessary, because I have to take care of a window of 3 here anyways, and everything has to be paid for. Then whatever is left here is what I need, but if I take this window, I'm not gonna have 5 without the 3, so I
Yeah,
don't see any.
for this one's optimal, I messed up. But my thinking is, you're always taking the right end. You're always taking the rightmost choices.
Yeah,
What if some point you take all the rightmost, you
Yeah.
keep taking rightmost,
mhm,
and at some point, it was just optimal to take the middle.
yeah.
I mean, I have to show you an example too.
What I would argue is that, okay, sure, so actually, let's see if we can. All right, so you're saying, so some window, you're looking at some window where I have paid for everything in here,
Mhm.
and it somehow took care of the rest of the window. Instead, you want to say that maybe I will pay for something here and get it done.
Mhm.
That's really what you're saying.
Mhm.
My point is that, now what I have to worry about is an interval later on,
Mhm.
where, so if I look at the window that starts from here, I'm going to have an advantage because I would have paid for more and I have to account for less. Of course, it might still end up being the same thing.
Mhm.
I'm saying you could not have done better because of that. By the way, we are assuming that everything here was identical between our schedules. That this is the first window where we disagree on, where I decide to go with that and you decide to go with that, okay? If that happens, then clearly for everything before, it didn't matter. I can take any window and it's satisfied. But I'm saying that there is a later window where I'm gonna have an advantage. That's all the point.
For that I agree, but I'm saying like move the leftmost window a little bit to the right, in between that,
Leftmost window,
the one that's completely blank.
yeah,
You said you have an advantage over that, which I agree.
right,
But if you move it to be in between, like
like that,
like right
Okay.
there,
yeah. I'm saying
is
that
this
here,
also
there is no difference. But you wanna go
no,
halfway.
in halfway? Yes.
You wanna go halfway, okay, fine. So you have a halfway thing, and you have some advantage because you paid for
Mhm.
that. Whereas I would have this whole thing that I paid for. So I paid for more. Because remember, this year is the same as that.
Yeah.
Okay? So I think that, whatever you do, my guess is that, this is very similar to some other arguments I've seen with intervals, and it can be it can be done. I can prove this in a very rigorous way if you want.
Okay.
So all that I have to do is to take care of, look at the first thing, whoops, what was that? All right, go away, yeah. So look at the first, let me use a different color, black. Let's look at the first trip for which you paid and I have delayed payments. Okay, I'm just going to take that payment and I'm going to move it down. And I'm going to show to you, I argue that it didn't make any difference.
Okay.
Okay. Because that clearly doesn't affect anything before, because if it had, then I would have seen that problem earlier and I would have paid for it, right? So since it's not here on my list, it's not a critical payment because I delay everything. I delay all decisions. And therefore, all I'm going to do is take that one single payment and I'm going to move it down to the first available option.
Okay.
And so maybe all of this is filled and maybe this is that trip I'm going to pay for.
Mhm.
So essentially, I've showed to you that our answers didn't make a difference, but in the end, I've managed to move things further and delay
Which is
it.
optimal.
And I can keep doing this until you end up with the schedule that I showed you. So it's a mathematical argument that can be made. I don't think that there's going to be a problem. So I am sold on greedy algorithm, but it still remains, the question still remains, how do you know that's the best? That I am not 100% sure if I have a good answer for that. Ask us, maybe everyone can benefit from it.
No, because, don't you have to pay for 5 flights in 3-month period?
Correct?
So what about when you're?
Which one?
111.
This one here,
Yes.
right? The problem here is we paid for all the trips. We've done all we
Right.
can, so it doesn't matter. That's the best we can do. So
Right,
if
right.
you can't pay for,
Yes,
so.
sorry.
How am I doing on time?
It is 4:35.
I have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So this is a good time to talk about the competition. So only the 3 of you are here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to spend some time. We have a serious competition this Saturday. We're going to talk a little bit about strategy so that these guys will benefit from it. You're welcome to listen as well. Clearly for the competition, it makes sense to solve the easy problems first. Are you guys clear about this? No question about that, right? Because again, you can prove that mathematically. If you solve the easy problem first and it takes you 10 minutes, and if you solve a hard problem next that takes 30 minutes, you'll get 10 plus 40 penalty points, so you get 50 penalty points. If you solve the hard problem first, takes 30 minutes, you'll get 30, and the next one you'll solve 10 minutes later, that will be at 40, and your penalty points will be 7. So anyways, easy problem first is the key. If you have whatever 10 problems that are given to you, by the way, you guys should talk to your teammates. You should talk to your teammates and convey this information. You have 10 problems. Divide those 10 problems immediately. The first thing you should do is tear up those sheets and say, you're looking at the first 3, you're looking at the next 3, you're looking at the next 3. Find me the easiest problem under the sun. That's your job, okay? Something that's almost brainless, something that can definitely be solved, and there's almost no doubt about it, okay? Don't look for things where you know the answer. That's not what you want. You want something where it can be solved as quickly as possible. Solving that first problem will give you enormous confidence, and things will go much better after that. If that fails, if you're not able to locate within the 3 or 4 problems that you're looking at, if you can't find the easy problem, then go look at the scoreboard, somebody will help you. And then once you find the problem that was solved absolutely first, forget about put one of your teammates on this problem and have it solved, because that's where you will benefit the most. So I say first 1 hour, either find the easiest problems by yourself or get the help from the scoreboard and focus that. Don't focus on the hard problems. If somebody is on that first problem, you should be looking, there's typically 2 easy problems often. So I would say it may be worthwhile for you to look for that second problem, or of the 3 or 4 problems you're looking at, write down what strategies you think will solve the problem. Greedy, dynamic programming, minimum spanning tree, this, that, whatever. Just write down simple notes for yourself saying this is basically a minimum spanning tree problem. So then when you come back to it, at least you won't be rereading it and rethinking this all over again. So write down quick notes for yourself, and then on the second round, start to look at